of the School of Professional Advancement, and I'm really excited to welcome everyone to our graduate admissions webinar today. And if you are able to turn your camera on, that's always great because it's nice to see real faces, but we completely understand if you can't. And actually, just to get us going, I'm wondering if everyone could put their name and their location, and if you know what program you're interested in the chat box at the bottom of the screen. Probably everyone knows Zoom at this point, but in case not, the chat box is the main way that we communicate during these webinars. So if you don't mind, go ahead and let us know who you are, where you're calling in from, and what you're interested in. That's always fun to see where people are. All right, so Baton Rouge goes first. Thank you. So I'm Suri, and I'm the Dean of the School of Professional Advancement, or SOPA, as we call it. And I am going to be speaking in this webinar with my colleague, Sheila Gold, who oversees recruitment and admissions. And we're joined by our colleague, Ann Conlin, in the background, who's running the slides. And then another new colleague, where is she? Alicia Jasmine, who is our new director of communications for the school and is checking out our webinar so she can give us lots of feedback on it. So that's really cool too. Happy to have all of you here. So, you know, things are waking up in Louisiana, at least. Things feels like there's starting to be a change in the air. As of Monday, all adults in Louisiana age 16 and up are going to have access to the vaccine. Indoor music is starting again. Hopefully, you're starting to feel like things are getting back a little bit to normal wherever you are, New York City, Chicago, wherever it might be, Costa Rica, Lagos, College Station. Hopefully you're starting to feel this too. And, you know, Tulane is coming through the pandemic really strong and really well. We feel great about how the university has been able to handle all the challenges that we've had in the past year, and really good about what's coming. And so I want to congratulate you on taking this step and considering Tulane SOPA as an option. And I'm hoping that during the course of this webinar, you're going to be convinced that this could be your new academic home. One of the reasons why I do these webinars as Dean of the school is that it's an opportunity to demonstrate to prospective students how we work, and the fact that even though our students and faculty are all over the country and even all over the world, we are one community. We build relationships with one another, and the relationships that you create and the things that you learn in this school benefit you throughout the rest of your life. So again, thanks for joining us. Tulane actually has a long history of educating working adults and offering applied programs that are relevant to the workplace, arguably going back to the university's founding as the Medical College of Louisiana in 1834 to address tropical disease. And this school's predecessor, which actually started in the 1880s, offering programs for working adults. So there's a long history, but we get to build on this history in a 21st century way, which is really exciting. So that's one of the things we always like to talk about. And then during these webinars, During this webinar in particular, we're going to talk about online and our expertise in that area, which is extensive, a little bit about specific programs and faculty, knowing that we have individual webinars for each of the program areas. We'll talk about our great student advisement and other supports. And then we'll talk about the fact that we price our tuition and we structure our courses and our programs to be friendly and accessible to people with complex lives and backgrounds. All of that backed up by the fact that we're part of Tulane University, one of the most recognizable university brands, if you will, in the world. So all of it comes together really well. So just to start with online, even schools and faculty that weren't really doing much online have learned to do it over the past year. But I guess one of the points that I would make is that it's actually really different from teaching in a classroom, and there's a fair amount of expertise that comes along with it. And so, I think that there's a lot of online instruction happening right now that is not fully taking advantage of the format or the ways in which people learn. And because we've been doing this for a long time and we put a lot of focus and resources into it, we've developed a way of teaching online that we feel is really exceptionally strong. It is interactive.
You're muted, Suri. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Right? How did that happen? I was admitting someone. I'm going to stop admitting people and let Ann do it. Everyone at our school knows that I have this thing that I really like to admit people to from the waiting room when we're on Zoom, because it gives me a sense of control. But obviously I'm tripping over myself. So thanks, Sheila. So we feel really good about the way that we do online instruction and the basic format, which is that most of the work is what's called asynchronous. You do it on your own time, but then there are class meetings where everyone is on at once, often with a guest speaker at least once a month, sometimes more. And that we also have all different kinds of formats for group projects and peer reviews. In the class I'm teaching right now, students are actually doing peer reviews of one another's big semester-long projects right now before students send them in to the professors for grades. And one of the ways that we sort of quantify our expertise in teaching online is in the next slide, just with the numbers. So the numbers of students who are learning online, the numbers of programs that we're offering online, with the exception, all of our graduate study is online with a few really important exceptions, and the number of faculty who know how to teach online effectively. And thanks, Elizabeth, for the shout out for being personable, right? The line between personable and inept can be very thin, I guess. So at any university, the cornerstone of quality is the faculty, and we're really proud of our faculty. It is a combination of full-time faculty, many of whom came from industry, but all of whom have really deep experience. And then many people who are still working in the field actively. So in this slide, for example, you have two folks over on the left-hand side of the screen who are working in industry. Actually, Ashley Hand, who teaches in the public administration program, just rejoined government a couple of weeks ago, so we need to update the slide. And Derek Bose, who is a very senior emergency management executive in Louisiana. And then over on the right, we have Tyra Mitchell, who teaches in our kinesiology programs, health and wellness and sport, and Ralph Russo, who oversees our information technology and cybersecurity programs. And you get the fact that they love to teach adults. They're good at it, they're well trained, and they have academic credentials and real world experience. And that is true for our faculty across the board. All right, so this is a list of all of our master's degrees. Like I said, most of them are online. Some of them have in-person components. In the public administration program, for example, there's a required residency in Louisiana, which we actually decided to cancel this June, but going forward, it will be happening. The Master of Liberal Arts, which is a really special program because it's taught by amazing humanities faculty from across the university who love to teach adults, is mostly an in-person program, but has some online coursework. And then some of our other programs, we offer some options for taking on-ground classes, while most of them are online. And then on the next slide, we have a long list that's actually getting longer and longer, and we need to redesign this slide, but it's of our graduate certificate programs. And in every instance, the graduate certificate programs are part of a master's degree, with one exception, which I'll mention. They're all what we call stackable, which means that if you decide to start with a certificate, you can decide later that you want to go on for the full master's degree. The admissions process is the same. The admission standards are the same. It's totally seamless. The one exception that I would mention is the Cyber Technology Fundamentals certificate. All of the other certificates are 4 courses. This one is 8. No, 6, sorry, it's 6 courses. And that certificate is actually for people who are career changers and want to get a background in information technology. Most of the students in that certificate program go into our IT management and cybersecurity management master's degrees, which require a technical background, which could be from work or from school, and focus more on management. So the point is that we work really hard to meet students where they're at, and to offer a lot of different ways of pursuing a graduate education, but also the opportunity to pivot from one to another, certificate to master's degree. The next slide, we also offer what we call post-baccalaureate certificates, which are in fields where the graduate degree is not as relevant, like graphic design, for example. And these require you to have a bachelor's degree, but are actually made up of courses at the undergraduate level and accompanying certifications. And the next slide, one of the ways in which we show that we are adult learner friendly is that we have a process for demonstrating that you have learned content that's actually in the coursework by building a portfolio and mapping it to the learning objectives in the courses. So we have faculty who can work with you, match your experience to, again, learning objectives in specific courses in a master's degree, help you build a portfolio where you document your experience, and then faculty grade it, and you can get up to 6 credits toward the master's degree through this process. We also have arrangements with different kinds of partner organizations, such as the National Guard and the Marine Corps College, where you can also essentially transfer credit for prior learning from training programs with those entities to count toward the master's degree. And then we always want to talk about our student support as well, because we have an exceptionally robust set of supports that help you to do your best work academically, to manage challenges that come up in your life, which happens, children, jobs, health, and to make sure that you stay on track while you're handling those kinds of situations. And so every single graduate student has a dedicated academic advisor who will help you stay focused in the right direction, take the right courses at the right time, and then, like I said, figure out how to manage through challenges. The faculty, of course, are bringing their networks and their perspective to bear, and so you get access to that, as well as to our dedicated career advisor who puts together panels with employers and has workshops on updating your LinkedIn profile and can help you practice for an interview, whatever works best for you, along with all the other supports that you get access to as part of Tulane, including writing support, for example. All right, so with that, I'm going to be quiet and hand things off to my colleague Sheila. And please do go ahead and put questions and comments in the chat, and we'll respond to them to the extent that we can while we're in the webinar. And then if we need to follow up on some of them, we will.
Thanks, Suri. Let me take a minute just to welcome everybody again. We really appreciate you all being here. And I'd like to sort of underscore and reiterate Suri's encouragement to put questions in the chat, but I also like to let students know we're going to share our contact information when this webinar is over. Please feel free to reach out to us. We don't want students to feel intimidated, and we also like to let you know that sort of philosophically, we feel like the application process is the beginning of our relationship building with students. So we like to get to know students. We like to hear from you all. And one of the value added to being a student at SOPA is that we enjoy our relationships with our students. You get to know faculty, staff, and those relationships help you not only be successful as a student, but also will hopefully help you network and connect and get jobs when you graduate. So I want to talk a little bit about the affordability. Part of SOPA's mission is that we are very intentional about offering a tuition price point that is attainable for students. So we know that going to school for many of you all is an investment in yourself. It's an investment of time. Many of you are juggling career, home life, as well as the financial responsibilities of going back to school. So our price point is intentionally attainable. Our credit price per credit hour is $1,078 right now for the summer term. It will be going up slightly in the fall and moving forward to $1,119 per credit hour. Most of our classes are 3 credit hours. We do also have a tuition calculator on our website. If you all haven't gone and explored that you can put in if you're taking 3 classes versus 2 classes, what the price might be so that you can do some financial planning. We also are very conscious not to add an additional level of fees on top. We have very nominal fees added each semester. Many schools, we know that students are savvy consumers and do some comparison shopping. Always look at fees added onto the tuition. Many of our brother and sister institutions here in New Orleans can be almost double the rate of SOPA when you start adding on fees. So please keep that in mind. The majority of our students do access some sort of financial aid. You will need to fill out the FAFSA form, the Federal Form for Financial Aid. If you have any questions about this, we can connect you to our on-campus financial aid officers, and we also have some in-house staff that can have some initial conversations with you to help you navigate that process. I do encourage all students to start filling out the FAFSA form. When you start filling out your application for admissions, it can take several weeks, so don't leave that towards the end. Some types of aids that we offer student are federal grants and loans. That's on the FAFSA and financial aid side. We are also very proudly a yellow ribbon school. We do have supports and intentional programs for our veterans, and we encourage you all to look into that if that applies to you. We offer 20% tuition discounts for active duty military and veterans, as well as active and retired public safety personnel. And we also have just started offering and are very proud to share that for any of you all who received your undergraduate degree from a minority serving institution, we offer a 20% discount as well to those students who are pursuing a master's degree or certificate with us. Suri also mentioned on the slide before this, our credit for prior learning program. That is also a savings of time and money. You can save up to 6 credit hours of time and tuition. So we include that piece on this affordability slide as well. Next slide. So the application process is quite straightforward. Our application lives on our website. If you see the bottom of this screen, sopa.tulane.edu/apply. If you go to our website, you'll see a big button at the top that says apply. It will take you to the application portal. Our questions are intentionally straightforward. However, once again, let me reiterate, if you get into the application process and have any questions, please reach out. We are happy to answer those and kind of help you through the process. We do require a $50 application fee, but as a thank you to you all for taking some time out of your busy day to be with us, that fee will automatically be waived. We've captured your information that you attended today, and as you submit your application, you should automatically skip over the application fee step. If for some reason you do get asked to pay your fee, once again, reach out to us. Waiving your application fee takes about 30 seconds. So we are happy to get a little reminder from you and we'll waive it, no problem. Another component of the application is you'll need to upload a clear image of a current valid government ID. For most people, that's your driver's license. Take a picture on your phone and upload the image. For some of you, it might be a government ID or a passport. And then we will need transcripts from any of your undergraduate institutions from which you attended. And if you have any current graduate work that you would like to let us know about, you can send those as well. We do prefer that applications get sent to us via electronically from the registrar's office of your previous institutions. However, you can send them via U.S. Postal Service as well. It just takes a little bit longer. The addresses where to send those are included in the application. So as you're applying, you'll be able to see the directions to send your transcripts.
Could I add, Sheila, just real quick, we don't require the graduate record examination, the GRE, because we don't think it is a meaningful measure of your ability to do graduate level work in our school. And that's a bit of a trend, actually. Not a trend for us. We've never required it. There were a few questions about international students, Sheila, which maybe I could just address all together real quick before you talk about deadlines. So the application and admissions process for students in countries other than the US is the same as it is for students who are domestic to the United States. If you're not a US citizen, it is the same process. We use the same transcript, translation and evaluation services that other institutions use in the United States. And the financial aid, the federal financial aid is not available if you're not a US citizen, but institutional aid could be. We don't issue J1 or F1 visas to international students. but we have students all over the world in our online programs. And then just real quick, the minority serving institution designation is one created by the US government. So historically, Black colleges, Latino serving institutions, Asian serving institutions, Native American serving institutions, and there's actually an official inventory that the U.S. government keeps, and that's what we use to make that institutional aid. All right, back to you, Sheila.
No, that's great. Thank you, Suri. There also may be one other point of interest. Depending on your program, there may be a written portion to the application where you'll have to submit a written portion. So some application deadlines to keep in mind. For those of you who are interested in coming this summer, our application is open. We are reading applications right now. That application deadline is May 1. For those of you looking for the fall, our application deadline is August 1st. And then for those of you who are planners and thinking all the way to the spring term, January 1 is our deadline. We read applications on a rolling basis. So what that means is as soon as your application is complete, we will read it and offer you an admissions decision. I encourage students to get your applications in and completed as quickly as possible because you can take advantage of what we call our early enrollment scholarship. And those dates are in the boxes below. For summer term, it's April 15th. For August 1st, for fall, it's June 1. And for spring, it's December 1. What that means is that if you register for your classes for those dates that correspond to the term, you will get a $500 discount on your first semester's tuition. And we do this for a couple reasons. We do this because A, it's an incentive for students to get into our school early and to plan and to commit. That's helpful on your end and our end. And it's also our way of saying that we understand that going back to school is a commitment financially, and we want to help you at SOPA in your first semester. So that's $500. That is for everyone who enrolls by those early dates for their first semester. So we encourage everybody to go ahead and do that. So those are as the official portion of our slide, but are there questions, Suri, in the chat that have not been answered yet?
Yeah, there are. So a few. So just one, again, just to reiterate, no GRE. We should just put that on the slides, I think. No GRE. We don't offer every single course every semester. Faculty plan for which courses to offer when based on what students need. Some of our students are full-time, taking 3 or 4 classes at a time, but most are taking 2 courses at a time. We have 3 semesters a year, 3 terms. So fall and spring are each 14 weeks and summer is 12. And many of our students attend all 3 terms. We really encourage that actually, because we want you to make progress through your program as quickly as you can manage. And we do take unofficial transcripts to evaluate your application for admission, but we need the official versions in order for you to register for your first semester of classes. And we do have staff, Sheila and colleagues, who are happy to work with you throughout the application process. I think that covers everything. Financial aid is available during the summer term. And again, I really encourage you to, like Sheila said, to start your application for federal aid early, but also to talk to our staff who are experienced and can give pointers about how to navigate it, because it can feel kind of overwhelming. All right, any other questions? Well, it's always fun to have a group that has a lot of questions. We appreciate that a lot. And we do have some follow-ups after this webinar that we'll do individually. And we'll also, like Sheila said, we'll be in touch with you, and you will get a recorded version of this webinar as well. All right, actually, one last question that I see, a spouse discount. We don't offer spouse discounts. And Elizabeth, we can follow up with you individually about your transcripts and whether or not they can be counted as official. All right, really nice to see everyone. Thanks again for joining us. Hopefully you're starting to get out a little bit more like we are. And we end everything we do by saying stay safe and healthy. And we look forward to being in touch. Have a good rest of your day.